Hi everybody, it's Janelle Miller. I am going to talk this week about family literacy in Canada. And I'm going to be really honest, I had a really hard time with this chapter. I had a hard time, sorry, had a hard time just kind of gleaning anything that I felt like was going to help me in my teaching or in my family educating of my own parents. So I'll kind of talk a little bit about that when I'm finished, like what my major takeaway was from this chapter. But I had to read it a couple of times just to kind of get the gist of it. Basically, I feel like Canada is just having a lot of governmental policy funding issues and accountability issues with this program. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you for indulging this video. It's like 10 o'clock. The project's due at midnight, and I've been sitting at baseball games since 4 after teaching all day. So I kind of, you know, anyway, so thank you for indulging me in this. I just want to take a minute to just, I wasn't quite sure how I wanted this project to come together. Like I said, this was a harder chapter for me just because it was a lot of uh, government policies. It was a lot of things that I just really, I'm going to be real honest, just wasn't interested in. Like just this policy and this policy and this organization was created, and then this one lacked funding and accountability, and just things like that. So when I read it and kind of made my outline, it kind of became a little clearer to me on what I wanted to do. So anyway, hopefully this video will be more of a conversation. And really wasn't sure I wanted to put this kind of information in a PowerPoint. It seems a little bit heavy and dry. And like I said, just a lot of programs and policies that came into place and that have kind of failed because of lack of funding and, like I said, accountability and just different interconnected and it seems like unrelated government control. So anyway, it's a little bit different, a little bit heavy, so I thought maybe a video might help just kind of put it in perspective. So I'm going to read a little bit. I've got a transcript that I will send with this as well that will have the links of things that I am talking about, and hopefully that will make a little bit more sense. So let's get started. Like I said, I'm really sorry for this. Anyway, family literacy in Canada really took shape in the late 1980s, early 1990s. It was trying to model after America in British countries and other international programs. It was built kind of on a diverse spectrum of unconnected programs and interest groups that kind of wanted something to happen in this area, but they were trying to model it after different things. And so it seems a little bit maybe not the best framework. Anyway, so in 1988, one of the interest groups gave way to a federal program called the National Literacy Secretariat, which is NLS for short. The NLS was mandated to support awareness raising activities, to provide materials resource development, and to research what family literacy was going to look like in their country and how to best serve their population. So the NLS was a major part in every area of Canada until its demise in 2007. Programs such as Story Sacks, and I've got that linked in my transcript page, and Hippie, home instruction for parents of preschool youngsters. And again, that is linked in my transcript page as well, so you can read more information on both of those programs. I believe both of those programs are still in action, so you can link to those and find out more information. I found it pretty interesting when I looked through those, so that was neat. Family literacy programs kind of lost a lot of ground in the late decade because of policy shifts and funding. And again, this is where it kind of gets technical on the government framework and who's funding what and what policy is getting funded and where they're putting their money. So adult education is not getting as much funding as childhood education, specifically early childhood education, is getting way more funding than adult basic education. When you're looking at adult education and literacy programs for adults, it's basically targeted to workplace skills and employable attributes. So what I took that to mean was, how can we, what can we give our workers so that they can be employable? What do they need to know? What basic skills? So I find that to be pretty basic. So their funding has kind of been dropping. Meanwhile, the early childhood development funding has been increasing. So I guess that's good if you're, looking for that aspect of care in Canada. So an organization called the Early Childhood Development was enacted, I guess, I don't know, was created. It has 4 basic areas of action, 2 of which are strictly for improving family care, parenting, family support, and strengthening early childhood literacy and the development and care of kids. So it sounds like a really good policy program, and it is getting some funding. The Early Childhood Development Organization is responsible for increasing the amount of family literacy activities embedded and delivered in health and social services providers. So what I take that to mean is that it's wrapped up in the care and the health of kids, and families are, kind of buying into that, which is great, and it's helping their literacy rates and their family support. So overall, when you think about programs in Canada, their evaluation system, according to our textbook, is not as strong as ours. Like if you're looking at our evaluation programs for Head Start or Early Head Start, we are very data driven, and we're very strategic. We have strong evidence-based data to support our programs. And in Canada, they really lack that evaluation system. Sorry, that's my husband's phone. Really lack that evaluation system. So that's one of the reasons it's making it difficult to fund and support programs without really the strong evidence to support that the program needs to happen. So the textbook and the author has basically said that funding and lack of accountability are largely to blame for the trouble that Canada has in creating a solid foundation for family literacy support and quality programming. And the real danger of it is, she noted in the chapter, that it's not clear if family literacy will be absorbed into other programs or other agendas, because there's not a real solid framework for what that is. So I guess we'll just see. Now, the article was written in 2011, so I don't know what research, what recent, what she would say now in 2019. But the good news for Canada is that it has, it's very knowledgeable and has very wide expertise. So lots of people know lots of things. They're very good at creating innovative programs, and they have training modules that meet their specific population needs. It has a history of effective collaboration and partnership among providers and researchers and funders. So they can get a lot of things thought of and probably funded. And it has a wealth of knowledgeable educators and practitioners and many experts in the field. So I feel like the good news and the hope is that if they can just kind of put all these pieces together, if they can leverage the expertise and rely on the findings of other countries in relations to family literacy programs, then I think they'll be okay, because they have, like I said, the chapter indicated that they have a wide knowledge base and lots of expertise. So if they can just get a solid framework and a solid foundation, hopefully they can really make a difference when it comes to family literacy programs. Well, okay, so I have all this linked here on my transcript page, so I hope you'll look at that and see if you want some more information on the Story Sacks and the HIPPY program and the National Literacy Secretariat. There's a form on that as to what it is and what it's not, and how it happened to go away. I think my main takeaway when I'm reading this chapter and thinking about how I'm going to apply this knowledge to my world is Without the proper framework, the programs that you're wanting to do for your families will not, or your kids, even your students, your families, whatever impact that you have, without the proper framework and the proper standards or expectations, it might not succeed. So, really thinking through like what your goal is for the kids in your room or the families that you serve, what your goal is, and how you're really going to provide that, and really thinking through step by step, providing that solid framework and allowing for what to do when things go wrong, or um, what you can do different next time. I think that's probably my main takeaway is what I want to do for my families. I want it to be really thought through. Like, I want to really have a solid framework. I really feel like that's probably not where this chapter was leading for Canada. And, one thing that it talked about was just the evaluation system. So the things that you do, are you reflecting on those? Are you able to really give data to, did that succeed? What will I do next time? What were people's opinions about it? Or, just really giving data to your programs that exist or things that you want to do for your families or your kids or your students. So I think that's my main takeaway. Like I said, it was a really difficult chapter for me to really break down because it was really heavy with government programs and, all of that. So it's kind of not where my brain usually tries to work. So I'm just trying to think, how can I apply this? And what I think I'm taking away is that I need a solid framework of expectations and standards to go along with what I want to accomplish in my room. So hopefully that helps you, and hopefully I have a better time next week with the chapter that we will end on. But I've really enjoyed learning from everyone, and I hope that you enjoy, learning from everyone too. So anyway, have a great night.